Hey everyone, before we dive into today's story, it would mean a lot if you could take a second to like the video. It really helps the channel, encourages me to keep bringing you more stories like this. Thank you so much. I'm George. My wife's name is Dally. We've been married 11 years. High school sweethearts. We grew up working class. I was raised by my dad after my mom just disappeared one day when I was 6. I learned young. You work hard or you starve. No shortcuts. Eventually, my dad got out of farming and started buying land. He gave me a house on one of his properties, a place to fix up, start a family. We pay the bills, but it's in a family trust. Dally and I built a simple, good life together. We have an 8-year-old son. He's the center of our world. She stayed home with him while I worked as a route driver for a beer company, hustling 10 to 12-hour days, chasing my dream of owning my own business. We weren't rich, but we were building something, or at least I thought we were. Marriage isn't a fairy tale. No matter how much love you start with, real life has a way of testing every crack you didn't even know was there. For us, it started small. Little things. Dallius. Getting quiet during dinners. She brushed off my kisses. When I left for work, a quick peck, instead of the deep lingering ones we used to share. At first, I chalked it up to stress. Raising an 8-year-old boy, volunteering at his school, and handling the house was a lot. I was working crazy hours too, busting my back, trying to save enough to start my own business. There were weeks I barely saw her, except when she was half asleep. We were ships passing in the night. But that spring, things hit a breaking point. One night, after putting our son to bed, we sat on the back porch. The stars were out. The air was thick with the smell of fresh-cut grass, and Dally, staring into her wine glass, finally spoke. "I don't know if I'm happy anymore," she said, voice so quiet I almost missed it. Those words shattered something in me. We talked. Really talked for the first time in months. She told me she felt lonely, unseen, like she was just a fixture in my busy life, not a partner. It crushed me, because the truth was, I'd felt lonely too. We made promises that night, big ones. We'd prioritize each other again. We'd make time. We'd fight for us. And for a while, it was beautiful. The passion reignited. Late-night talks under the covers. Spontaneous kisses in the kitchen, making love like we were teenagers sneaking around again. I was exhausted from work, but I didn't care. If Dally wanted me, needed me, I was there. It felt like we were finally back on track. But by June, the glow started to fade. She got distant again, short-tempered, always busy, cleaning, organizing, texting someone, and the bedroom? Nothing. By July, I felt like I was chasing a ghost. I tried everything. Date nights, surprises, even took a few days off work just to be home more. She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes, and every time I tried to dig deeper, asked if something was wrong, she gave me the same robotic answer. "I'm fine. Just tired. You're overthinking." I wanted to believe her. I needed to believe her, because the alternative, that she was drifting away from me, was too painful to even imagine. Summer turned into fall. Leaves changed, and so did she. By September, we weren't even pretending anymore. No more affection, no more passion, no more connection. I was living with a stranger who wore my wife's face, and somewhere deep down, in the pit of my gut, I knew. Something was terribly, terribly wrong. September rolled in like a slow-moving storm. Our son had just started flag football. A new season, a new team, a fresh start. Or so I thought. I was juggling work like crazy, but no matter how tired I was, I swore to myself I wouldn't miss a single game. My son needed me in the stands, and maybe, just maybe, Dally and I could find some magic again by being involved together. One evening after work, I decided to surprise them at practice. I pulled into the dusty parking lot, grabbed a folding chair, and made my way toward the field. What I saw stopped me cold. There was Dally, not just watching, but right there on the field, standing shoulder to shoulder, with the coach, Marlon. They laughed easily. They high-fived the kids. They leaned into each other while scribbling notes on a clipboard. My heart twisted. I wasn't angry. Not yet, just caught off guard. Later at home, over a rushed dinner, I casually brought it up. "Didn't know you were helping the coach," I said, smiling, trying to keep it light. Before Dally could answer, my son blurted out, "Mom's not just helping, she's the assistant coach. She's awesome." Dally smiled, a little too brightly, and shrugged it off like it was no big deal. They needed someone, I figured why not. I wanted to believe her. God, I wanted to. Over the next few weeks, something changed in our house. Dally was busy, busier than ever. Constant texts, phone calls she'd quickly silence when I walked into the room, practices that ran long, meetings with Marlon that couldn't wait, even on nights when I was finally home early. Still, I kept telling myself it was nothing. I didn't want to be that guy, the jealous, insecure husband who didn't trust his wife. Then came the first game. I hustled from my morning deliveries, racing to the field, my shirt still sticky with sweat. I spotted Dally and Marlon immediately. Side by side on the sidelines, animated, laughing, way too comfortable. I shook off the sinking feeling, grabbed a seat, and focused on cheering my boy. Halfway through the game, someone set a folding chair next to mine. It was Mary. Now, Mary wasn't just any parent. We had history, a long one. She'd been one of my oldest friends from back in high school, the smart girl everyone admired. We shared that small-town bond you can't fake. At halftime, she leaned over, her voice low. "George, is everything okay between you and Dally?" I blinked, caught completely off guard. "Yeah, why?" I asked. Mary hesitated. She bit her lip. Then she told me what her son had seen at Marlon's house, a stolen kiss. Not a quick peck, not a mistake, a real lingering kiss. Right there, plain as day in Marlon's living room couch. The world seemed to tilt around me. I looked across the field, at my wife cheering and smiling, and felt my stomach twist into a knot. I wanted to believe it was all a misunderstanding. I needed to. But deep down, I knew. The night after the game, I couldn't sleep. I lay there next to Dally, staring at the ceiling, feeling every inch of distance between us. Her breathing was slow, steady, like she didn't have a care in the world. Meanwhile, my mind raced. Maybe Mary was wrong. Maybe her son had seen something else. Maybe it was all just a big misunderstanding. But the seed had been planted, and once it's there, you can't unknow it. The next morning, Dally was up early, too early, getting ready for a team strategy meeting at a coffee shop. Marlon's favorite coffee shop, by the way. Funny how she hadn't even bothered to tell me until I asked. "It's nothing," she said, tossing her hair up into a messy bun, grabbing her keys. "We're just planning some drills for the next tournament. I'll be back before lunch." I kissed her cheek. She barely even noticed. As the door clicked shut behind her, I stood there in the kitchen, fists clenched, heart hammering. That's when it hit me. I needed to know, not guess, not wonder. I started small. First, I checked her iPad, the one she always left on the counter like a forgotten toy. It was locked. New password. We'd always shared everything until now. Strike one. Next, I tried our cell phone account. We were on a family plan. It took a few clicks to find the call logs. There, it was Marlon's number. Dozens of calls and texts at all hours. Midnight. During dinner. During our son's dentist appointment. Strike two. My chest felt tight, like something heavy was sitting on it. Still, part of me hoped it could still be explained. Maybe it really was just football stuff. The final straw came that Saturday. I was supposed to work a half day, just a few hours of deliveries, then home by noon. Dally thought I was gone until 4. I parked my truck a few houses down, heart pounding in my ears, walked up quietly, careful. Through the front window, I saw it. Dally on the couch, Marlon standing, his hand on her knee. Too familiar, too easy, too intimate. I froze, couldn't breathe. They didn't notice me, too caught up in whatever world they thought they had built. It wasn't a kiss, not yet, but it didn't have to be. The way she looked at him, the way he touched her. It said everything words never could. I backed away slowly, my whole body numb. Got back in my truck. Drove around the block a few times, gripping the steering wheel like it could somehow anchor me to reality. The truth was staring me in the face. I just didn't know how much worse it was about to get. If you were in my shoes, what would you do next? Trust your gut or confront them without evidence? Click the like button below to help many lovely people like you worldwide hear this story. Sunday morning came, heavy and gray. I didn't sleep much the night before. How could I? I kept replaying that scene at Marlon's house over and over in my mind. The way Dally leaned into him, the way she laughed, how easily she fit into his life, when she was supposed to be building one with me. I sat at the kitchen table staring at my cold coffee, listening to the clock tick. Waiting, plotting, planning. I needed proof, not just for me, for court, for custody, for everything. Because this wasn't just betrayal. This was war. I spent the next few days acting normal, at least on the outside. Inside, I was unraveling. Dally would flit in and out of the house, humming, tapping away on her phone like a teenager with a new crush. Sometimes she'd even lean over and kiss me on the cheek, like nothing was wrong, each time she touched me. I felt sick. I had to be sure. I had to be smart. Monday morning, before I left for the warehouse, I woke up half an hour early. Snuck into the living room, found her phone charging. The screen lit up when I touched it. New password. So I sat there, heart hammering, trying different combinations. Birthdays, pet names, our son's name. Nothing. Then, on a hunch, I tried our wedding date flipped backward. It opened, and what I saw made my stomach drop. Hundreds of texts between Dally and Marlon. Not just friendly banter, not even flirty jokes. Full on, dirty, graphic messages, photos, plans to sneak away after practices, comments about how it felt so dangerous doing it while George was at work. I felt like I'd been punched in the gut, over and over and over. I took screenshots and saved them all, careful to back them up to a hidden drive. This wasn't just some emotional affair, it was physical, ongoing, deliberate. That night, when Dally came home late from another team meeting, I was waiting at the table. Same cold coffee, same ticking clock. She walked in, tossing her purse on the counter like nothing was wrong. "Hey, babe," she chirped, pulling off her shoes. "Sorry, practice ran long. Marlon's trying this new defensive scheme with the kids." "Sit down," I said quietly. She froze. Saw the folder on the table. Her eyes narrowed. "What's that?" "Sit," I repeated, reluctantly. She did. Crossed her arms, scowled. I opened the folder and slid the screenshots across the table. She glanced down, saw the first text, the second, the photos. Her face went pale. For a moment, she said nothing. Then, "I can't believe you went through my phone." No apology, no regret, just pure anger that I had caught her. "You invaded my privacy," she shrieked, shoving the papers back at me. I just sat there, silent, letting her dig her own grave. Finally, when she realized I wasn't going to argue, she broke down. Tears, sobs, begging. It didn't mean anything. It was just a mistake. I still love you. Every lie was like another slap across the face. I waited for her to finish, then stood up. "You have until next Sunday to move out," I said quietly. "Take your clothes and your personal stuff. Leave everything else." She stared at me, stunned. as if she still couldn't believe there would be consequences. "George, please. You made your choice, Dally. Now live with it." I walked out of the house, the door slamming behind me, drowning out her sobs. For the first time in weeks, the air outside felt clean. But deep down, I knew the hardest part was still coming. And Dally? She hadn't even begun to pay for what she did. Not yet. The next week was pure hell, not because I missed Dally. I didn't. Not after what I'd seen. Not after what I knew. It was hell because Dally refused to go down quietly. Instead of packing up and leaving like an adult, she started spinning a whole new story, a different story. One where she was the victim, where I was the cold, distant husband who emotionally abandoned her, where Marlon was just a good friend who helped her feel alive again. By Friday, she was posting long, cryptic messages on Facebook. Sometimes people don't appreciate you until you're gone. Sometimes you have to save yourself, even if it breaks your heart. The comments flooded in. "You deserve happiness, girl. Stay strong, queen. Men never realize what they have until it's too late." I wanted to vomit, but I didn't respond. Not publicly, not yet, because I knew something Dally didn't. The truth was a patient beast, and it was hungry. Soccer game day, parents packed the bleachers, coffee in hand, cheering on their kids. Dally and Marlon were there, of course, pretending nothing was wrong. They didn't sit together, not obviously. But I caught the sneaky glances, the little smirks. They thought they'd gotten away with it. They thought I was just going to fade into the background and let them rewrite the story. At halftime, while the kids huddled around their coaches, I made my move. I walked up to one of the moms, Sarah, who happened to be married to Marlon's best friend. I didn't say much, just showed her the screenshots, the messages, the photos. Her mouth dropped open, then snapped shut. Within 10 minutes, it was wildfire. Parents started whispering, phones came out, screenshots started circulating like a virus. You could feel the shift in the air, the fake smiles, the polite nods, all disappearing like smoke. People pulled their kids closer when Dally and Marlon walked by. Conversations stopped when they approached, the same people who were posting, "Stay strong, queen." The night before were now exchanging disgusted looks. Dally realized something was wrong around the third quarter. She kept looking around, confused. Her smile got tighter, more desperate. Finally, during a timeout, she came up to me, fake tears brimming. "George, what did you do?" she hissed under her breath. I didn't even blink. "I told the truth," I said simply. "Something you should try sometime." That night, her Facebook went silent. No more cryptic posts, no more sad memes. Instead, Marlon's wife, yes, he was married too. She posted a long, brutal update. Funny how people pretend to be victims while sneaking around with married men. I guess cheaters always think they're heroes in their own story. The fallout was immediate. Marlon's wife kicked him out. He lost custody of his kids temporarily. Dally's friends stopped answering her calls. And me? I filed for divorce Monday morning, full custody. Ironclad. Dally tried to fight it, of course. She cried in court. Blamed mental health struggles. Tried to paint me as controlling and neglectful, but the evidence was overwhelming. And when the judge saw those screenshots, the photos, the timestamps, it wasn't even a question. Full custody to me. Minimal supervised visitation for her. As I walked out of that courtroom, I finally exhaled. Truly exhaled. For the first time in years, I felt free. And Dally? She stood there on the courthouse steps, surrounded by nobody, crying into the wind. Alone. Exactly where her choices had led her. The weeks after the divorce were strangely quiet. Almost too quiet. No screaming matches, no passive-aggressive texts, no late-night guilt trips. Just me, my son, and a fresh start. At first it felt weird, waking up to silence, no constant buzzing of Dally's drama. No walking on eggshells, wondering what mood she'd be in. Just peace. My son adjusted faster than I expected. Kids are resilient, they say, and it's true. Without the tension in the house, he laughed more, played harder, slept better. I found myself smiling for no reason some days, just watching him chase the dog around the yard, free and wild like he should have been all along. I threw myself into work, started hitting the gym again. Reconnected with old friends Dally had slowly isolated me from over the years. It felt like coming back to life. Every small win, every laugh, every good night's sleep stitched me back together. Meanwhile, Dally was falling apart. And the crazy thing? I didn't even have to lift a finger. Word started getting around about her and Marlon. Not just in our town, but online, too. Someone, not me, leaked screenshots to a local community group. Parents warned each other about homewreckers lurking around the soccer league. She tried to play victim again. But it didn't stick this time. Too many people knew the truth. Marlon didn't exactly turn out to be the soulmate she thought he was either. After his wife divorced him, he spiraled. Started drinking, got arrested for a DUI 2 months later. Lost his job coaching kids soccer after a parent complained about inappropriate conduct. Guess when you build a relationship on lies and betrayal, it's only a matter of time before it crumbles. Dally tried to distance herself from him after that, but by then, her reputation was in tatters. She bounced between low-paying jobs, moved back in with her parents temporarily. Every few weeks, I'd get a desperate, pathetic text from her. "Can we talk? I'm sorry for everything, George. I miss our family. Please." I never answered, not once. Because by then, I understood something she never would. It wasn't just about the cheating, it was about the choice. The repeated, deliberate choice to lie, to betray, to gaslight, over and over again. I focused on my son. I'm building a new life where loyalty, trust, and love weren't just pretty words but real, living things. One Saturday, almost a year after the divorce, my son and I stood on the front porch, grilling burgers and laughing about something dumb. The sunset burned gold across the sky. He looked up at me, eyes shining, and said, "Dad, we're really happy now, huh?" I ruffled his hair, smiling so hard it hurt. "Yeah, buddy," I said. "We really are. Some scars never fully fade, but sometimes they make you stronger. And sometimes losing someone you thought you couldn't live without is exactly what saves you." It was a cold Sunday afternoon when I saw her again. Nearly a year had passed since the divorce was finalized. I was grabbing coffee at our old favorite cafe, the one Dally had practically banned me from during the end because it was too nostalgic. Ironic, right? I was laughing with a friend when I spotted her, sitting alone by the window, head down, fidgeting with a cracked phone screen. Her once vibrant hair was limp and dull. The designer clothes she used to obsess over were replaced, with a plain hoodie and worn-out jeans. If you didn't know her, you wouldn't have recognized her. Hell, I barely did. For a moment, our eyes met. She froze. The fake confidence, the arrogance she used to wear like armor, shattered instantly. In its place was something raw, ashamed, exposed, lost. She stood up awkwardly, as if debating whether to come over. I turned back to my friend, smiling, and kept talking. I didn't flinch. I didn't acknowledge her. I didn't owe her anything. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw her falter, then sit back down, burying her face in her hands. Maybe she cried, I don't know, and honestly, I didn't care. Later that night, I tucked my son into bed. He snuggled under the covers, clutching the stuffed dog he'd had since he was 2. "Good night, Dad," he said sleepily. "You're the best dad ever." I kissed his forehead. "Good night, buddy. I love you." I stepped out onto the porch, letting the cool night air wash over me. For the first time in what felt like forever, my heart didn't feel heavy anymore. No anger, no sadness, no resentment, just peace. Maybe Dally would find her way eventually, I wasn't bitter. I wasn't broken. I was free. If you felt the weight of this betrayal, smash that like button to support George. Please be sure to comment below. Stay strong if you think healing is the best revenge. And remember, loyalty is everything. Don't settle for less.